Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim Corpus, and today we're going to take a look at something a little bit different. We're going to take a look at TouchOSC right here, and we are going to use it to control Zoom. Now, we all experienced at the onset of the pandemic that we were doing a lot more virtual meetings and webinars and all sorts of presentations, concerts, things like that. And a lot of us were using Zoom. And one of the cool things about OSC is that there are a number of third-party applications, and I'm talking about things different than what we typically look at on this channel, which is like controlling Cubase or Reaper or a different music software, because Open Sound Control kind of makes a lot of sense for using it with music software. But there are a lot of other applications of TouchOSC with different software that you're using throughout your career. So we're going to be using TouchOSC on a mobile device to control Zoom, but we're going to need a third-party app called Zoom OSC. And you also need to make sure that you have a Zoom account. So OSC, if you head to their website, you can see there's a huge list of different programs that use this. We've looked at a lot of different DAWs to control TouchOSC, but we're going to look at Zoom OSC. Now, if you're unfamiliar with TouchOSC in general, I recommend going back to my first couple videos where you can learn about TouchOSC and what it does, and also how to install it and set it up on your system. So I'm going to be running it off of an old iPad, which is like an iPad Air. I do have it connected via USB cable because the battery is just shot and doesn't work at all anymore. And then I'm also running TouchOSC desktop on my desktop computer, which is a PC. So you can go to hexler.net, and if you scroll to the bottom, you can download the desktop version and the mobile device. And the desktop can be free, you can get a license as well, and it does cost to buy the mobile app. And the last thing you're going to need is Zoom OSC by Liminal, and you can download this software and go ahead and install it, and it is going to use your Zoom account to connect with TouchOSC. And I do want to say thanks to the folks at Liminal who were really helpful. I've spent at least 3 days working on this video to prepare because it is very confusing. I can't say that their text information is the best, but when you're dealing with new types of software like this, a lot of the times the details on how to set systems like this up are a bit confusing. So that's why we're going to take a look at it together, and hopefully this will answer a lot of your questions. So for this, I'm going to be using just the free version of Zoom OSC 4, and I am using the beta, which is Zoom OSC 4.1.1. So now that you have everything set up and downloaded, let's go ahead and open up the TouchOSC editor on the desktop and on the mobile device. So here we are in TouchOSC. Let's go ahead and connect our devices. So we're going to take this little Wi-Fi button here, select that, and we're going to go to Server and Enable. And then here on the iPad, I'm going to do the same, click this Wi-Fi thing, and we should see our desktop computer. And let's go ahead and connect. And you can see a black screen on your mobile device as well. So let's go ahead and add a button. Right click, add a button, make this pretty big here. And I do have the grid turned on here. And let's go ahead and add a label. And for this label, let's go ahead and remove the background and the outline. So we already have some pre-made messages on this button. Let's go ahead and right-click the button, Messages, Delete All. And then let's go ahead and copy this, paste, and paste another one. So we have 3 different ones. So for this first one, let's select the label, and let's call this our welcome message. And then this next one, let's say this is Introduction. And then this last one, let's call it a Reminder Number 1. Great, so this message, you can push those buttons on your mobile device, but you see it doesn't really do anything. So we have to add an OSC message. So On our first button, let's go ahead down here to Messages, add OSC, and we want to change this trigger to fall because we don't want it to go twice. We want it to just go when we push the button down. So then let's remove name here, and you can select this slash, and we're going to go on the right side of that, and what we're going to do is Zoom/all, because this is going to go to everyone, /chat. And so when we push this button, it is going through the Zoom OSC client, sending to all, and we are sending a chat. So now we need to include our message. So in arguments, let's go ahead and plus, add a constant here, and let's go ahead and write our message. So let's say, welcome to the meeting, ! And that's that. So let's do that again. We'll add another message. So OSC, we'll change this to fall, and we will remove that. And our message is going to be /Zoom/all/chat. And then we add in our constant. And here we're just going to say, let's say we want to give everybody the contact information for the speaker. So we'll say John Smith, jsmith@google.com. And then our last one, let's select our reminder here and add a message. And let's add again, Zoom/all/chat. Now, of course, if you had put this message on the first button and copied and paste those buttons, they would already have this in them, which I recommend, but I wanted to show you so you get used to it. So let's add our message to everybody as constant, and we're going to remind people, let's be sure to like and subscribe. See what I did there? Great, so these are the messages that we're going to send in our Zoom meeting. Let's go ahead and add another object. Let's right click here and add a button. And we're going to control screen sharing. Now, of course, you could do this in the Zoom client, but we're going to make a toggle button to turn on and off Zoom sharing. So to make a toggle under button, let's go ahead and toggle press. And then we do not need this MIDI message, so let's delete that. We're going to go ahead and make this button blue so we can find it, and we should add a label so we remember what it is. So under label, let's remove the background, remove the outline. And this is going to be screen share. So our OSC message to do this, our first one is going to be on Rise. And it is going to be, it's going to start with Zoom. So /Zoom/me, because this is me who is sending it. And we're not doing it with everyone. /start, and then screen share primary. Now you may be wondering, how does he know all these different commands and protocols for Zoom OSC? Well, there's a great document that has all of these different things listed. So Zoom OSC has a command syntax doc here, and it has all sorts of information. It can be a little bit confusing, especially because the setup is a little bit different in TouchOSC, but this is super helpful. And you can see there's also options for Pro in webinars, but we'll take a look at that a little later. Right now, we're just going to look at something that works with a free account. And don't worry, I've added in the description below a link to TouchOSC download, to Zoom OSC, and of course that document with all of the command syntax information. So now if you were to push that button, you can see it highlights and it turns on. We have that toggle working, but we need the message to turn off screen sharing. So let's add another OSC message. And this is going to be on, that's the wrong one. So we have Rise there, select the bottom one, and that's going to be on fall. And then let's remove name. And then this is going to be /Zoom/me/stop share. And the capital letters are super important, so make sure you're spelling everything correctly. So this is just the tip of the iceberg for things we can send to Zoom OSC, but let's go ahead and open a Zoom meeting and see how they work. So assuming you've downloaded it and set it up, let's go ahead and launch it. And this Zoom Essentials status window is very helpful because it'll show you if your messages are going through or if there are any errors. And once it's set up, you can go ahead and click sign in with Zoom, and you'll probably get a pop-up to log in, and you can just go ahead and do that and open app. And then once you're all set, go ahead and you can join a meeting or launch a meeting. And we're going to start a meeting here. And you can see it looks just like your regular Zoom account, but it's just being run through Zoom OSC. So now we have our meeting going. So we have my laptop, we have you who's watching, we have my dog who's sleeping below, and we have my desktop computer, which is also sending a video. So let's go ahead and try this out. Let's go ahead and send our welcome message. So we push our button, and you can see here on the laptop, welcome to the meeting. It works, comes through. Send our introduction message, and we can send our reminder. And we don't have to type these things out manually during the meeting. You can prepare all of it. You could have a whole bunch of different scripts prepared, and they could be pretty long too. And you could just have them set and ready to go. So now let's see if we have screen sharing set up. So let's hit that toggle button, that blue button, and you can see now on the laptop, it is sharing screen, and we can see what I'm doing here on my desktop. And then we push that toggle button again, and we've returned to our Zoom meeting. Now, of course, screen sharing is pretty simple to do in the Zoom client, but it's pretty handy to have this here in your template. Now let's look at another thing that I've seen is pretty critical in a lot of meetings, which is sometimes you have that one person, especially in a large meeting, who forgets to mute themselves. So instead of having to find that person and mute them, let's make a mute all button. So here in our template, let's go ahead and add another button. And we'll throw this up here. Let's make this kind of like a pinky purple. And let's add a label. We don't need the background or outline, and this is going to say mute all. So here on our button, let's go ahead and remove the MIDI message that we don't need, and we can remove name. And this is going to happen on fall. So let's select our address here, and this is going to be /Zoom/all, because this is going to work for everyone, /mute. So let's jump back into our Zoom meeting. So here on my laptop, you can see that my microphone is live. It is working. On TouchOSC, we go ahead and hit that mute all button, and I have now muted everyone. Now, something to note in doing this is that you may inadvertently mute somebody who you don't want to mute. So you want to be careful about muting all, but in those times of need, this is a great way to control a meeting. So these are just a few different commands for TouchOSC to control a Zoom meeting, but there is a lot more to cover. So like I said, we're breaking this up into multiple videos, and hopefully you learned something today and you can like this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel because there's a lot more we're going to cover in TouchOSC working with Zoom OSC, everything else like spotlights, and definitely webinars as well. So be sure to check that out in advance. Hopefully you learned something, and you can always go ahead and buy me a coffee. I appreciate your support. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.